Hi, I'm Allison Ellis of Floral Artistry, and I'm coming to you today on the Flirty Fleurs blog with a video as a supplement to my post on how to cut the flowers out of the wedding budget, which is every florist's favorite topic. It's something that just seems to be really getting on our nerves lately because there are so many, it feels like anyway, so many different little blogs and news organizations doing these vignettes about how to cut wedding budgets, and the flowers are always getting really beat up in the process. And it's always the same like cookie cutter answer that putting lots of candles on the table is like this, like candles are free or something, this super fantastic alternative to flowers, when as florists I think we all know that when you look at how much money people are spending on candles, we could do something really beautiful with that same budget in terms of, fresh centerpieces. So people are getting the wrong information. I think that's really what's kind of, getting on our nerves the most. But there are some things that we can do as florists to sort of help move things in the right direction, because we all do know that flowers are so essential to beautiful weddings. They make the wedding on so many levels. The flowers are the color palette, the flowers are the romance, they are the fresh element, they are what people are looking forward to seeing at weddings. Let's be honest. Guests are looking forward to seeing the flowers. And if they're not there, no one has ever left a wedding and said, "Did you see those candles? I cannot get over those candles. They were breathtaking." Never gonna happen. So let's stop comparing apples to oranges, these candles to flowers situation, and let's start to educate our clients and our potential clients. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. I mentioned in my post how education is sort of like our number one tool that we can use. And I think it's easy to say that, but I don't want to glaze over what that actually means and how we can actually implement education. So if you are someone who is interested in taking weddings of all different budgets, because not everyone is, a $10,000 minimum florist. I think most of us are not, quite frankly. Most of us are just happy to have something in the, middle of the road range as a minimum. We're not looking to, have $100,000 weddings every week, but we just can't necessarily do a $500 wedding and like still feed our family. So, people though who have a flower shop or people who are newer to the business, you may be more interested in capturing some of these more conservative budgets because they are worthwhile for you, because you do need the experience or you have the staff and the resources to pull it off, and it's not going to prevent you from taking, other work. So anyway, I think that these people, these clients, these potential clients do deserve to be serviced and served well by our industry. And we don't need to just say, well, if you're on a tight budget, flowers are just not an option, because that's not the truth. And we know that. We all know that as florists. It's just these news organizations don't know that. So the first tip for education is definitely the most, to me, obvious thing that wasn't obvious to me when I first started 13 years ago, which is being honest about pricing. So when I first started, no one talked about budget before like having a consultation. And quite frankly, even after the consultation, brides would leave, I'd sit down to type a proposal, and I would have no idea what was realistic for them to spend. I would just shoot for the lowest possible number I could do a wedding for. Whatever the lowest price was I could do for a bouquet and centerpieces and delivery. And that would be the proposal, because I didn't realize that maybe I was turning people away, because when they looked at my proposal, they thought, "Oh, she doesn't really get what I'm trying to do here. I want a beautiful wedding, not a budget wedding." And now, transparency is so much cooler and so much more the norm that most of us, I think, do talk about budget up front. And it's a good thing to do. It's as simple as, what are you looking to spend? Or what is your ideal budget? Or what are you comfortable spending on, this piece of your wedding? It's as simple as having a phrase that you can use that works for you and that the client can then respond to. And some clients are not going to tell you. Some clients just kind of are like, "Well, why don't you tell me what this is going to cost?" And, that's just something we have to deal with. Either we can tell them that it's, more, it's much easier if they can give us an idea. And some people really genuinely don't have an idea. They're not just holding out on us, like they don't want to show us their cards. They don't know what to expect. So it really is our job. This isn't something that's not our job that I'm telling you to do. This is our job to inform the client about what wedding flowers cost, because they don't know. They don't plan a wedding every day. It's not something that is like total common knowledge. So that's our job to explain to them and to set their mind at ease that, your budget is enough to do what you're hoping to do. Or maybe it's not enough to do everything, but this is what I can do. So pricing and being honest about pricing is like really that number one, easiest, most important piece. It's not often that something is both the easiest and the most important piece of your job. And I think that's what honesty with pricing really is. So the second piece of how to educate our clients is going to be your blog. So I'm not telling you to start a blog if you don't have a blog. That's a totally another subject for another day. But if you do have a blog, how you utilize that blog as an outlet for your creativity, your personal style, what it is you like, what it is you do, what it is you don't do, like the stuff that you're not interested in doing, I think is just as important to put out there on your blog as the things that you love to do. So like I have a love it or hate it sort of piece on my blog, and there are some things I really don't like, I'm not interested in doing, and I put it out there, and it just makes it that much easier if someone comes to me and wants something that I'm not interested in doing. It's like I've already said to Cyberland, I'm not that interested in doing this sort of style, and it's just not for me. And that's okay. You don't have to be everything to every person. I do think that's harder sometimes when you have a shop, and I understand that you do need to sometimes design for, and this goes for anybody, not just if you have a shop. Sometimes we do design things that aren't exactly our taste, because we do run a business, and everyone does have a right to maybe like something that we don't love. But you just have to sort of do your best to put out there what it is that you like. And hopefully by doing that, you start to attract the people who like those same things, like coming in your door and ordering those things, because that's the whole point of the blog, is just give a little piece of ourselves and what it is we do out there to potential clients so that they can, come to us and get those things that we love. Tip number 3 is about photos. So you have to have a good portfolio showing your quality of work. So whether it's your hard copy portfolio that's in your studio space, or it's your online gallery, or it's the photos that you're sharing on your blog and your Twitter and your Facebook and your Pinterest and your Instagram and your, I don't know, what else am I forgetting? A million other things probably. Those pictures should be good, current pictures. Like if you have a portfolio that you're rocking scanned photos of Kodak pictures from 12 years ago, like that's not acceptable. It's time to step up the game and show people really what it is that you're doing currently, what you're doing this week, what you're, the bouquet you just made, the centerpiece that you just set up today, whatever it is that you're doing now is what should be out there that people can see, because the picture is, really what sells what we do. And I know it can be kind of intimidating for some people. You feel like you don't have time to take photos, and it is time consuming, or it can be time consuming, but it's really not an option for you to just decide you don't have the time for it. You have to add it to your to-do list. And if I can do it, you can do it. And what I do is I just have a point and shoot camera. I don't have a fancy camera. I kind of wish I had a fancy camera, but I have a point and shoot camera, and I take my bouquets outside the morning of the wedding, and I take pictures of them in natural light. Like too much light is not great, but natural light, as long as it's not, bright sun, is perfect for flowers. And you take some beautiful photos, some close-ups, set them up, do something kind of cute. Put them on a log or a vase or whatever it is you want to put them on. Have a little background. Take some pictures. You load them up in the van and you go to the wedding. And if you just start doing that this week on your next wedding, whenever that is, by the end of the season, you're going to have a beautiful portfolio of current photos that you can start putting out there for people to see. and it's just not an option. You know, when you're kind of feeling bummed that the photographer isn't sharing the photos with you, you know, it's your work, it's your responsibility to take pictures. This is part of your job, and just add it to your to-do list. Like, gotta take pictures, or assign it to one of your staff members. If you have staff, put this on their list. It's something they can do for you so that you know you have the pictures, but it's not taking time away from, you know, your running your business. And my fourth and final tip is really, again, much like my, you know, honesty in pricing and being honest on your blog, being honest about your design aesthetic and what it is you do and how you deliver the full package to each customer is a really important piece. So if you are deciding to maybe, you know, go out of your comfort zone and work with a more conservative budget and do a $50 centerpiece, for example, when normally you have a minimum of, you know, $75 for a centerpiece, that's okay if you're comfortable with that, if you're still making money, and if it's something that you feel okay, if you feel good about doing, or at least feel okay about doing because it's the right thing to do for the client and for your business. But you can't be over-promising and under-delivering. You cannot, you know, be overfilling orders because, well, this $50 centerpiece doesn't look big enough. Well, of course it doesn't. It's $25 less than your minimum, you know? Like, this is just, you're going to have to get over it and just recognize that, you know, overfilling or, you know, over-promising and under-delivering are just not good for our business, not good for your business. And you need to really be very honest about what your designs, you know, what the size of the design is going to be, what the types of flowers are going to be, and, you know, what it is that you would like to do to capture a little bit of that candle money and turn it into a beautiful centerpiece without, you know, selling yourself short. So that is not a small detail, because it's very easy to feel like you're doing the customer, you know, a favor by taking their smaller wedding that's below your minimum. And then in the end, you know, there's some sort of discrepancy about, oh, well, this isn't as big as I thought it was going to be. This doesn't look like what I see on your website. When again, of course it doesn't. This is something that's less than what I normally do. So just making sure there's a meeting of the minds, that you really do understand what it is you're promising and what it is that is going to be delivered, and that everybody's happy. Because in the end, as wedding professionals, we know that, you know, a happy client is just the best feeling. There's nothing better than a smiling bride, than a happy mom, you know, and feeling like you did your best work. And that's what we should always be trying to do. And we shouldn't be, you know, underselling and trying to, you know, price as low as possible, which is just, you know, a race to the bottom. We're never going to get ahead if we're always cutting prices. So don't get intimidated by people wanting to sort of have some sort of talking points, which end up being, you should cut your flower budget, because it's not really practical for people who do prioritize flowers. And there are a lot of people who understand truly the value of flowers. And those are the people we want to talk to. We're not looking to convince people who think flowers are a waste of money that they're not a waste of money. Like, that's not my job. That's not your job. We just have to talk to the people who are interested in working with us and make them as happy as we possibly can. So I hope you found these tips helpful. And if you have some tips of your own about how you educate your clients, or if there's a particular tip that I gave today that you think you're going to start implementing like immediately, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.